I've long thought it'd be good to close up those gaps around the built-in wardrobes. Well, they weren't actually built in, they were constructed in here after the building was put up. But that gap there is possibly where our aroma of decomposing rodent is coming from. When the wiring was put in for power point over there, and power point in there, and the power point over there, and the power point there, the wiring had to come down from the roof, and in order to get down the side of the wardrobes, when we then accessed it through the gap to get it to feed through the holes that we cut in the borders there. Yeah, well, to get it down the sides there, what we had to do was cut a hole in the ceiling and then direct the wire down the side. So we had noises of rodents scratching around up on top of the ceiling, and it was damn annoying at night. So we put traps up there and threw some poison about. Well, Jubaedah caught one or two in the traps, and apparently the poison got at least one as well, because now we have the aroma of decomposing rodent in here, which is not wonderful. And this is why I have a fan there blowing air out through the window to try and remove some of the aroma. Jubaedah said it was better with the AC on, but no, that just recirculates the same stinking aroma. So I'm circulating the air out. We did have someone go up in the ceiling and look underneath the insulation bats up there, but they couldn't find a rodent dead underneath the insulation bats. So my theory is they've come down through the hole that was cut for the wiring, and they're on top of the wardrobe. And of course that's not a wide enough gap to be able to get up there and have a look to see. So there's no winning this one. I think we have to wait for it to dehydrate and the aroma to dissipate. But yeah, it's just one more delight. And the rodents, they're sort of largish, about twice the size of a mouse and much smaller than a rat. So I don't know what they are, but they're dead annoying. But yeah, so that's why we have a fan running here blowing the air out through the window. And that will run all day. This is a retake of some video I did yesterday, which I lost, yesterday being Saturday. I discovered this after I'd taken a whole lot more video, and this is kind of needed as a precursor. I actually spent far too long describing my experience of pain, because I actually understand pain due to 2 instances of herniated discs in my back which required surgery, and one which only resulted in 4 days in traction in hospital in Washington DC. So I described the back pain experience as reaching level 9 on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is the worst pain you can imagine. 9 was pretty intense. Anything above 5 you cannot sleep. Yeah, so with my dental issues there, or gum issues, I was up to 7. Pretty nasty. But yeah, that I waffled on quite a bit explaining the back herniation, the herniations of the discs. But I think on the second occasion in 2009 when I had surgery, the surgeon looked at the MRI and sent a note to my GP saying, "Impressive." I think he meant that it was impressive that I could still walk, because what he said to me was, well, if that gets any worse, that will mean loss of bladder and bowel control, paralysis of the legs, loss of erectile and ejaculatory function. And at the time I was single, so I told him, don't really get much use out of those last couple, but I really care about those first three. So because I did actually have partial paralysis of the legs at the time. I was using a walking stick because sometimes I would lose sensory contact with my legs, and I thought, okay, well, if I keep walking I'm likely to fall over. So I would stand there until things changed and I got contact back with my legs. That was not a pleasant experience. But the first surgery was in 1987, and I ended up with a scar about 12-15 centimetres long at the base of my spine. And I said to the surgeon at the time, how come such a big scar? And his response was, well, you don't do keyhole surgery in the spine. I thought, okay, that's a good answer, I'll go with that. But on the second occasion, in 2009, this new surgeon said, well, if you hadn't had that previous surgery, the scar would be about 2.5 centimetres, but because we have to go through that scar tissue, it'll be about 3.5 centimetres, because they do keyhole surgery in the spine now. So that was one contrast. The second one was in 1987. I spent a full 24 hours on a morphine drip, and that was an interesting experience because I'd taken books with me to read because I figured I'd need something to occupy me while I spent a week in hospital, and that day I sort of picked the book up a couple of times and found that I could read a paragraph understanding every word in the sentence and every sentence in the paragraph, but I got to the end of the paragraph and had no idea what it all said. So I put the book down again. But yeah, so after a week in hospital I went home, and I was supposed to have another 3 weeks at home, but as it turned out I got better pretty quickly and was back at work after 1 week at home. But second occasion in 2009, had surgery in the morning, and 6 hours after surgery got out of bed to go and have a pee. I thought, oh, he's fixed me, because I'd just been reading the paperwork which said I could have the symptoms for as long after surgery as I had them before surgery. And since the surgery was delayed a bit, and it had been about 3 months, I thought, okay, I'll be fixed in 3 months. I was fixed the same day. So went home next day, all fixed. Best $4,000 I ever spent, I think. But yeah, so don't wrestle fridges, because that's what got me the second time. But those were pain level 9. When you turn over in your sleep and then wake up screaming from the pain, you know it's bad. So look after your backs, folks. And yeah, so yesterday in the morning I was at about 6 or 7 pain level, and now on to the rest of the show after having done this retake. Well, it's Sunday morning and I am much happier. Yesterday, probably in the morning, late morning, I discovered that it felt like there was a blister on my gum beside where the lower molar is sensitive, and sort of pressing on that, it was very painful. And I'm thinking, we have an infection in there, that's probably full of pus. And so I thought, okay, well, if I can handle the pain, I'll go back to the dentist on Monday and have her drain that blister. But apparently having pressed on it enough, that must have burst a blockage somewhere, and over the next couple of hours it actually drained itself. And pain level went to 0. So I'm not complaining at all about that. That's excellent. Oh God. That looks dangerous. Anyway, it's all good now. I can still feel a bit of sensitivity if I bite down hard enough on the tooth, but that's the same thing I've had for the last 5 years, so I'm not complaining about that. But we'll keep taking the medication just in case that was what was having the beneficial effect. But being Sunday, it's time to go and do a maintenance run on the genset, and I need to drain the pressure accumulator. Okay, I got the pressure accumulator draining and genset running, and given the fact that this hose is extended out over here, it looks like they've been compensating for the fact that we've had bugger all rain or no rain for the last couple of weeks. So that's good, gets used. I'll go and open the vent. Well, there you go. While I wasn't paying attention, some of this rice out here has been harvested. Although, sort of looking at it, it might have been just junked some of it because of the bug infestation. No wonder. I'll ask Jubaedah, I guess. And this thing's not registering rainfall. I'm not sure whether that's because it stopped working again or whether because the rainfall has been unregisterably low, because I do know that like yesterday afternoon it sort of got dull late in the afternoon and there were drops of rain on the roof, but maybe it was just insignificantly low. I'll have to keep an eye on that. Last time it stopped registering rain, it was because ants had colonised the rain gauge, but there's no sign of that currently. Well, the pressure accumulator is drained, so I shall connect things up here, wander back and close off the vent, shut down the genset and turn back on the pump. Well, I'm not convinced that fuel gauge is moving, so next Sunday when I come I shall top up the fuel. So the current plan is to bring that camera you see at the moment down and try that on the southeast corner of the house where we've got better hope of working cable. If the new one that we put up there works out really well and that one doesn't work on the southeast corner of the house, I have the next plan, which is to take that camera from the far end there and put another one of the new ones up down there and take that one to the southeast corner of the house. Okay, he's got the new one on, just has to cable it up. One screw's going to be strong enough to hold that there, but may apply some silicone sealant behind it another time once we've got it proven to be working there okay. Okay, so this is the view from the new camera on the west end of the shed. So I can pan around past Dad Eng's garden and Dad Eng's house around to our house. If I go up a bit, if it'll let me, and get a slightly better view of our house. So you can see the solar panels on the south side of our roof. On the north side there is a couple of extra panels. Well, I set up this camera that was taken down from the west end of the shed in the storeroom here next to the PoE switch for the house, and tried it with a couple of different PoE splitters, and it wasn't happy with either of them as far as power went. So I had a spare 12 volt plug pack that I plugged into the power point over there, and it ran directly off that, and it's happy. So either I've got a couple of dodgy PoE splitters and I don't have another one to try, or well, it has to be just dodgy PoE splitters, given that it works on directly connected supply. So what I'll do after lunch is I go and bring a ladder over from the shed and dismount the cameras currently on the southeast corner of the house. Oops, I'm going to move around so the light comes back on. We've got a sensor light here in this storeroom. So I'll hang this one up there and plug in the PoE splitter that's currently in use there, and if that doesn't work, I've got those other passive connections to take power from that plug pack, injected into the cable, and a different splitter at the other end to take it off. So I can make this work, I think. It's currently working on the screen in the lounge room. So that's this afternoon's task. Well, having proved that that camera that we took down from the west end of the shed is actually okay, what I've got to do now is remove this one up here and substitute that other one. Okay, that one didn't like the PoE splitter there either, but it seems to be okay on the direct injection extraction white ones, so I'll know when I get inside and test. There it is, the camera that was formerly not working as Shed West PTZ is now going to be Southeast Corner PTZ. I just got to get in there and rename it in the camera display. So that's a satisfactory result. Well, it's Thursday and we're rid of the decomposing rodent smell that's been gone for a few days, so that's a bit of a relief in here. But on other fronts, things aren't quite so good. I see my sparrow barrier hasn't stuck very well with the silicon sealer, so I might have to stick a few screws in that to hold it as well. So that's not insurmountable, but it's a bit annoying. Maybe if I attack the surface of it with a bit of Scotch-Brite to rough it up a bit so that the silicon sticks to it better, that'll help. Now this camera on the southeast corner of the house is still acting up, which leads me to believe that the remaining component is the actual cable that goes through the roof. So sometime or other I'm going to cut the ends off that and put new ends on it, which is a bit of a pain. And speaking of pain, mouth is back up to level 2. Not real happy about that. If that gets worse, we're back to the dentist or doctor again tomorrow to get more treatment. But Jubaedah was feeding me kiwi fruit, and she thought that might have something to do with it being pain free for a while, so she's sent Daddang out to buy more kiwi fruit. So we'll see. It's Friday morning. You think I got a problem with the washing machine? That's about 20 years old. It's done excellent service up until coming to Bakung. I've replaced the out of balance sensor switch twice due to corrosion, and now I think my main drum bearings are packing it in. Guess I better order some parts. Bakung, you really do like to destroy equipment. Having looked up the parts kit I suspect I need at Big Parts Warehouse, you can see there just under $160. By the time that was shipped over here, paid customs and everything on it, we're looking at $240 to $250. And you start to think, well, on a 20-year-old washing machine, is that really worthwhile? I can illustrate the point if I can find this other window here. This is an entire 10 kilogram capacity automatic washing machine, and the exchange rate to Australian dollars is about 10,000 to 1 typically. So you're looking at about $290 for an entirely new machine with higher capacity. So I think what's more likely to happen here is buy one of these machines and take the Fisher and Paykel to the back area there, strip it down, look at the parts required and see if they can be sourced locally, because the big parts warehouse prices are diabolical. The out of balance sensor switch, which I replaced previously, their asking price was $42. That's a micro switch you can buy for 25 cents locally. So I suspect that if I dismantled the existing bearings out of the machine and could get part numbers off them, I could probably buy those locally at a much more reasonable rate, in which case we'd end up with an additional washing machine. The previous one was a Polytron, which is a local brand. This one's an Aqua, which is also a local brand. So looking there at about $230. Shipping, you'll see there it says 16,000 repair, about $1.60. So I think this new delivered would be cheaper than just getting the parts from Australia and hoping they're the right ones. So I think we'll go this way. We'll buy a new machine and then maybe look subsequently to see whether we can fix the old one, but not invest too much in it. But yeah, that's probably enough for this week's ramblings. Pain level 0 on the mouth at the moment, so happy to go with that. We'll see what develops.